welcome to this week's episode of Trauma and Trauma and Trauma. And this week's contestants are an octogenarian.
Hi.
A pregnant 50-year-old tiefling who's only just learned how to use her spells. A reliving, slightly closer to death, not dead person anymore. And Doran.
I'm fine.
Yes, actually. Yes, so there are. Right, so everyone is traumatized. I've got a cup of coffee.
It's too far from you. It's too far.
No, you're not allowed to leave the seat.
Not allowed to leave the seat.
Watch the mic.
Watch me. All right. So, yes, if you were as surprised as everybody else was by last week's episode, wait until you see this week's episode.
I don't know.
No, actually, I don't know what's going to happen because that's what is the marvelous wonderfulness of this game. Let's jump straight into it. Doing our recap from last week is number 5. Thank goodness that is you, Brendan.
Yes. Well, what can I say? Where did we start? Let me tell you. We started off by approaching the amazing city of Memnehep. I prefer the way I said it.
Okay.
And we were talking a little bit, and we made some divination spells, and we spoke a little bit with the Kalasi sisters to try and figure out if there was a truth down below us in the sands, which was fine. But maybe just slightly before that, which is maybe quite telling, is that Gottfried and Gemini were trying to figure out what the tattoo meant, and what language it was written in, and we figured out that it was a combination of abyssal and infernal and
Shadowfell language, whatever that is.
The Shadowfell, yeah.
The Shadowfell language.
That was all in episode 38, FYI. But it's useful information.
Yeah, it is useful. Mm-hmm. And something happened there, which we summarize is the reason why the following things happened. So after that, some blobs started to appear on the ship, and we fought them. It was quite a close run thing. They were quite powerful, and multiple people went down multiple times, but we managed to.
Thematically, they look kind of like fetuses.
They looked kind of like fetuses. And I would say the MVP of that whole fight session was Gottfried's favorite new friend.
Yeah.
Mindy.
Yeah.
Mindy the Mind Flayer.
So we managed to defeat those blobs, but it wasn't finished yet, because looking out over the side of the ship, a giant wall of something had approached the ship and washed over it. And very soon after that, plenty of things happened. So for Doran, not that much, thankfully. For Avaradus, you aged a bit.
Yeah.
For Gottfried, he aged a lot. So now he is around 81 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And for our poor Gemini, she turned into a 50-year-old tiefling woman who found out she was 7 months pregnant. And we surmise that this was the wrath of Ma'at. And the players have a working theory as to what that was and why it happened, which we shall talk about in character.
And right now.
Oh, okay.
Because you're in character.
Oh, we're in character.
I mean,
so where did we leave off last time? Oh my god, what's going to happen?
What the hell is this?
This is like the worst circus. What the hell happened? Who was that? Can I make a religion check to try and figure out who might have... you did already.
No, you did already.
Ma'at.
Life, goddess of life, death, women, children, birth, death. Death.
Gemini, this is the work of Ma'at. She seems to have cursed us with age, and you with a baby.
So why? Why have we been cursed with this?
A transgression of the worst order, I take it.
I mean, it must be the Crepuscularium that can be the only answer.
Well, I don't think it's the only answer, is it?
It is not as simple as that, because I have been reading the Crepuscularium for a long time. No, this is more recent, and I can't get the shit up. It's too depressing. I think it must be what we did with your tattoo that shifted us, or almost shifted you, somewhere that was forbidden. The creatures kept on saying forbidden. And so perhaps it is that we set foot where we should not set foot.
If we incurred.
I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. I felt like I was dying.
Well, if you are trespassing on the realm of the gods, you are nudging the afterlife, which is a form of death.
And it's not because we did divination, we spoke to the gods.
We've done that before.
We've done that before.
Done that
and This has
before.
never been quite
We've
so fast.
insulted them with way worse and
Yeah.
cleverer insults than that.
Much more, yes, verbose.
Mm.
So we trespassed in the place of the gods, and therefore, I mean, it makes a twisted kind of sense.
We cannot continue like this. I could literally expire at any moment, and so we must go to the city and see if we can find any kind of remedy.
We can't reasonably ask its pregnant lady to start delving.
Exactly,
depths.
exactly. And
We need to
we
lift
must reverse this.
this
yeah.
curse.
And if not, if it cannot be lifted, some other, well, for the aging, potions of longevity would do it, if we can buy them. As for your predicament, I know not.
You don't know from any of your readings on the wrath of the gods any texts that may allude to.
Reversing curses bestowed by the gods, exceptionally difficult, if not impossible. We may simply have to find not a reversal, but a remedy.
You also know that Ma'at is very seldom a vindictive or vicious goddess.
We really pissed them
You
off.
really did something. She would reserve this kind of punishment for the most heinous of crimes against women or against the life and death cycle. She is a major enemy of necromancers, same as Helvath, but that's because the necromancers are disrupting Helvath's cycles. In her case, they are taking life away from everything, but not giving them death either. So, yeah.
So I think we need to know precisely where it was you were going, maybe where those things came from, to know exactly what line we crossed. Where
Yes.
did we go? Or where?
Because although
Jim and I going,
Yeah, yeah.
it certainly seems like the
That
most
was-
possible thing
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that I trespassed, but there are other reasons that, or maybe it's the combination of all
It
these
may be
things.
the straw that broke the camel's back. We were
Perhaps.
that one step too far.
And you're not worried that in going to the city, we're leaving the very spot we might need to be.
Have no choice. We should leave. We should attempt to leave some kind of marker here. In shifting sands, I don't know how to do that exactly, but actually, oh, shoot, well, there.
Leave salt there.
Well, I'll need at least a short rest.
You could leave salt there. Right.
No, I can't leave them that far. How far is it?
You can't control
30
them.
miles.
Let's think of it. The first thing I want to do is if we get even a short rest.
You do? All is quiet.
I'll do some arcane recovery, get a third level slot back.
Short rest, you say?
How is the crew doing? Some passed away, right?
Yes, Higard is almost captain incommunicado. He is sorting out his crew. He is not talking to any of you.
Yeah, they I can imagine they don't really want. So what I want to do is right now is cast clairvoyance directly a mile directly below. So if it's an area I'm not familiar with, it's just a case of directions.
Okay.
The limit is a mile.
Yes.
So if we're hovering over the spot where we
Yes.
think we've been guided to,
Yes.
straight down 1 mile.
And what does this reveal?
I will a little globe through which I can see will appear
Yes.
in that location if that's
Oh,
possible.
directly a mile below.
So what I'm assuming is there's a buried city or a buried something.
Sure.
This thing might be.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. A mile.
Don't think I can move, but I'll check that now.
Okay. I would like you to roll a percentile for me, please.
Where's my other name? 79.
And I rolled 81.
Yeah.
So you age another 70. No.
Fuck you, man.
You get picture back. You get a visual.
Okay. What do we see?
It's magic. It is a chamber, possibly 100 foot or more in diameter. You can't see the edges. But there are these terrific large statues that are carved with the heads of dragons. but in a very stylized kind of way. Not the Sagetti style, which is kind of blockish.
Yeah.
This is more the Roman style, so almost lifelike.
Mm.
And they're supporting the ceiling.
Mm.
And in this chamber, there are mountains of coins. And that stretches away in all different directions.
Wow.
And there's bits of armor, there's gemstones, there's also some curious things. It looks like there are Sagetti warriors encased in crystal, littered about this chamber as well. But they're sculpted in such a way, or not sculpted, they're posing in, some are in recoiling motions, some are in crouching motions, some appear to be completely oblivious and are just sitting, looking or staring up.
Okay. Yeah.
Very similar, but imagine that they're encased in glass instead.
Like a basilisk style.
Yeah.
Or
And there, in amongst this treasure trove, is a plinth, and upon the plinth rests the second crepuscular.
should I roll a saving throw against heart attack? 81.
They're 81. Yeah.
Right. So, well, we found it. I don't know how we're going to get down there, but we found it.
I hand you a shovel.
Yeah. You're going to have to hand me 20 years as well, mate. If you want to do some digging.
I'm going to just lay my hands on you and go, try a thing. And I'm going to put my hands either side of my head and just cast Remove Curse. As a complete wild.
You cast Remove Curse. You feel no different.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Okay.
Not your regular curse.
He's still Irish.
Yeah. That came from anybody else, man. You're in so much trouble.
It's a blessing.
Well,
right.
it looks like you need a new character model.
Well, this guy, I don't know if you can see him. He's pretty old. He's pretty old.
Yeah, yeah.
I can. So the thing lasts for 10 minutes. It gives dark vision, and I can switch between seeing and hearing. I'll just switch on the hearing just in case somebody's having a chat.
Oh, something is slumbering.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sounds like a cat. If the cat was the size of a house.
So the dragon dominion stretched across the whole world.
No, the dragons were gods. They controlled the whole planet.
Yeah.
Not Clifford, the big red dog.
No.
No.
So there's a big sleeping dragon in here, maybe.
No, the dragons were all defeated, supposedly, and banished.
Is it a purring type of sound? More like a
It sounds like a cat's purr.
like a sphinx style.
Could be, yeah. Yeah. And it's by dragons, I mean the intelligent, manipulative dragons.
Yeah.
So there are still things like red dragons and green dragons running around, but those are just big, angry
Monsters.
reptiles.
Yeah. This was an intellectual and civilized race.
Yeah.
Species.
This is the magpie version of that's what's left. The hyper-intelligent ones with opposable thumbs, they were the ones that were banished.
Do we know where to? Banished to?
Legend has it that 3 warriors banished them from this realm. Other legends have it that 3 warriors defeated each of the god dragons on their home territory. Another legend has it that a deal was struck between 4 heroes and the dragons, and they exiled themselves to another realm for all eternity.
Do they
It's a
have
bit vague.
Yeah. Do they have? I had a book written by dragons at one point. Do they have characteristic names? The dragons. Do they have a certain?
Yes, Vex was
Vex is
usually
one of them, right?
involved, or X somehow. So because they were gods of the continents, you'd have Bren Vex, the god of Brunei, Sedge Vex.
Don't suppose any of the names of gods that I've read in that massive list of thousands of gods ever sounded dragony. Had a Vex in them.
No.
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
So shall we wait for the sand ship and then get into the city and try
Well,
and
if we
figure out-
landed, we might be able to land in an airship in a city. Not
Okay,
on
let's
sand.
ask the captain if we can do that.
Mm.
Captain Higgard, can we land in the
Aye.
city?
They have a watchtower.
And you need to get your people. Seem to.
I've got a crew of ancient dwarves.
Yeah.
Very experienced, nevertheless.
That's the problem. They're still not.
Mm-hmm. All the downsides and all the upsides. All the gout and all the experience.
We will find a way to lift this curse. We must.
Will that bring back the dead?
We
No.
can hope.
It will not.
You're a
Captain.
Do you have
cleric, aren't you? Is there
Yes.
anything you can do?
We're subject to the cycle. If they have perished, then it's most likely that they are gone, unless there is some significant power extended to bring them back.
I still won't try and take the ship into Memnahep in the dark.
Captain, do you have any female deckhands?
4. Why?
They're all knocked up.
How are they? Are they?
One of them has perished.
And the others, are they showing signs of pregnancy? Miracle.
How quick are your species?
That's nothing to do with my species.
It is part of the curse.
I'll go and check. He goes away. He comes back. They're all pregnant.
All right, maybe we should rest anyway. And if the scout doesn't
I
fly,
Don't know how to explain it.
I do.
We have a theory, but we're looking into it, Captain. It's only a theory currently. Please, let us rest tonight, and then in the morning we shall approach the watchtower and try and find answers to this.
As you wish.
Do any of you have any protection? And not that kind of protection. It's too late for that.
So far.
Any protection better than the armor I am wearing. I do not want to die quite so quickly next time.
Yes, I have. In fact, I'm wearing it.
Swatty.
I have some enchanted armor that would be best suited for you. I start, slowly unstrapping the elven chain I'm wearing.
Good. So you get Elven Chain,
Nice.
leaving Avaradus unprotected.
Well, I still have some breastplate in my bag as well, Avaris, if you would.
Good thing I can wear that.
Yeah, so I hand over the breastplate that I had.
I'll
Previously.
use the new feature in the Player's Handbook 2024 memorize spell to change the spells that one of the spells that I memorized. Rememorize mage armor. Cast that shit on me. I need that now.
I need it. Okay. So
You don't need
You spend the
efficiency,
night?
and you
Long
can-
resting, shall we?
Like
Liam's
just
tiny
plus
hut,
one.
just to
You're
be on the safe side.
15
I'll be up
AC.
3 times.
I'm on 15 AC. Right.
and then 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Time to get up.
Yeah.
I cast
Yeah,
Doran's
very
tiny hut just so we can
Alright.
be
You
safe.
hide in Doran's tiny hut, or you find
Doran-
refuge in
Doran's tiny temple, sorry.
tiny temple.
So just write it.
Okay, DTT.
The DTT.
Remind
Yeah.
yourself.
Don't have hit time. Well, we're doing
Am I wearing it?
Yeah, you gotta look at
My
this. So you're all good?
No, instead of.
Night. Woody L. Okay, let's go to the city.
The sunrise is unspeakably bright. There are no clouds whatsoever.
I'm typing breastfeed and it's come up breastfeeding as a suggestion.
Oh, God, no.
Who knows what they've added into 5.24? Yeah. Anyway, it is a spectacularly bright sunrise, and you almost feel as if you can taste the heat shimmering off of the sand. The top of your mouth seems to dry almost instantly. Below you, you can see docked, I guess.
Wait, can we retcon very slightly?
Hmm?
We wanted to leave a marker.
Yes. Well, your ship hasn't moved yet.
Oh, it hasn't moved yet, you're right.
Higgard wouldn't move the ship at night. Below you, you see this huge white lateen sail, triangular sail, gently fluttering in a light breeze, and the crew of Sagetti are below you.
Yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't want to. We'll see.
It is your convoy.
Excellent.
So I suggest, unless you have any other objections, we ask Captain Higgett to stay here. Is it within sight of the city, 30 miles away?
From up here,
From up there?
yes. On the ground, you doubt it.
So we could ask Higgett if he sees something
We need to be
untoward.
able to help their crew, though, as well. They've
Well,
been
we can-
cursed as much as we have.
We can take any critically wounded, and then we can ferry back some sort of cure. Or...
Well, maybe the Sagetti have some kind of way of marking location in sand that works, and we don't have to leave them here. When we make contact with this crew,
Sure.
we'll ask them for that.
Yeah. The dwarves lower the ship down so that it's just a few feet above the sand. A plank is lowered down. They offer you assistance down. They offer you assistance down as well.
Thank you.
There are three other dwarvish figures standing there looking very unhappy with themselves and no longer wearing their obligatory chainmail either.
Yeah, I suppose my chainmail is kind of above the bump, like a little crop chainmail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hotmail.
Yeah.
At least I'm a MILF.
Excellent.
Well, that's up to you to decide.
Yes, I've decided.
Roll for MILF.
Bordering on Gilf territory.
Right. Before we dive into those acronyms, a very handsome man, Sagetti elf. So very golden brown skin, not dark, not light, but golden, almost orange, I guess. Is standing there looking incredibly resplendent with this heavy black eyeliner and nothing else but a cotton kilt about his perfectly chiseled features. And he stands there with a bronze sword strapped to his side and opens expansively with his hands. And the first thing that hits you is the aroma. He smells of roses in the morning dew.
Okay, if I wasn't pregnant before, I wouldn't.
Oh my goodness.
10-foot radius.
Welcome aboard the Rasa. I am Axensaret, the captain, and it is my privilege and great honor to be your captain.
Steady, Everardus.
Well, I was going to say, do we have like a captain trading card game for the Duskmourn Chronicles?
How many captains?
Oh, yeah.
Top
That's a
drops.
good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Swarthiness, 10.
Okay, so I'll totter up to him, lean heavily against his rippling muscles.
Yes, and he has the good graces to provide you with an arm and patience.
Good captain, do you have a means of marking a spot that will not be shifted by the sands? It is very important we mark this location.
It shall be done.
Thank you. Now, do you have a chair?
He literally just casts his eyes across the rest of his crew, and there's a hurry and a flutter of kilts and bronze shoes, and a moment later there is this very ornate but very thinly made gold chair.
I probably weigh about 6 pounds at this point. There's no problem.
Yes.
Sit down.
Captain, some shade, please, for Gottfried and the ladies.
And suddenly there are 4. Would it be inappropriate for me to ask if the venerable one would prefer more coverage of the slaves? There are 4 very beautiful women wearing very little with large palm shades that they're about to shade you with.
I'm probably asleep at this point. In the chair, you know.
You are covered in shade.
Great.
Look at Scott's eyes.
I'm picturing this rather glorious salad of theirs.
Yes.
Covered in leaves.
You were not given a chair, you were given a divan so that you can recline upon it.
Okay.
In truth, I was not expecting such an unusual company.
Neither will we.
Our direct instructions that you were to be the champions of Sajeti.
We have been cast. We must go to the city to remedy the situation if we are to be of any use.
I do have some skill in the worship of our gods.
Any help will be greatly appreciated. This is not my baby. So, just so you know.
Also, we are.
We found the new Charles.
yeah, right. We have been aged. We must remedy the situation.
If you would permit me, I might perhaps place my hand upon you and remove this curse.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, yeah.
Gottfried, tell him you were 40. Keep going.
Very gently places his hand upon your shoulder, and he evokes a prayer of blessing from.
Get this right, mate.
Oh, it's even worse.
Oh no.
No. He issues a prayer of blessing to Reft, asking that his passion and his youth and his vigor might flood you and remove this curse from you.
And
Nothing happens.
Yeah, didn't think so.
Yeah,
They're not going to piss each other off.
I do not think that you have been cursed, O Venerable One, for that has in the past never failed. I suggest this runs deeper than that.
Well, it is a curse. It issues directly. Well, maybe I won't finish that sentence.
but what is worse than a curse, Captain? Accessorat. Accensorat.
Yes. If it would be easier, you might call me Set or Ak.
Captain Set. Thank you, Captain. My name is Darren Duskmourn.
Duran.
If it helps, you can call me Door.
As you wish, Protector.
Thank you, Captain.
All right.
Fucking hell. See? Pleasantries. Works.
And with 1,000 apologies, I would ask, what is our heading now? We have marked this location so that we will find it for the next 1,000 years.
No, they not. Or do we? No.
You don't know what happened,
But
but you said it marked.
Okay. Well, we have a heading towards the Pharaoh, right? We want to go
Yeah.
see the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Captain, we wish to see the Pharaoh, Pharos, if we can, please.
I shall direct you immediately to His Excellency. And he turns round, he snaps off a few orders, and more slaves pour onto deck with water and fruits that they look as if they literally were picked a few seconds ago. And he takes up a very heroic position next to the helmsman. This is great.
Yeah. Love this place.
As the sand ship slowly turns around in the sand and then glides over the dunes as if you were riding on a calm sea. She picks up quite a lot of speed at one point, and you are moving faster than, well, the airship was moving quickly, but you didn't really know because the ground was so far away. But you do also realize from this perspective, you had have no clue where the capital was at all. You're just seeing rolling dunes in all directions. So I'll just stay here then.
Bye.
We'll be back with some.
Well, it's been marked,
so he can go back to the city as well.
He can follow along behind, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Dock at the watchtower.
Thank you for thinking of us.
Oh,
We're looking
God.
after them.
I can't remember what happened the last half an hour, mate. So, yeah.
And you see behind you the dwarven ship slowly rising up into the air first to get altitude and then to come across. Those giant white mountains turn out to be the magnificent tombs that have been built by previous pharaohs. Spectacularly large, pyramidal in shape, but based with columns underneath and temple complexes that would make anybody go crazy from trying to navigate these labyrinthine spaces. But they are kept to one side. There are main shipping lanes which you immediately merge into, and these scull along the sides of these ancient necropoli. And marching between these great big pyramids are carved statues of the ancient pharaohs themselves, all as magnificent as Captain Aksanseret himself. Eventually, and this is after about 3 hours of travel, you have made your way through Memnehep. It is a bustling metropolis. There is no other city bigger on the planet.
Really?
This makes Howden Lee look like a suburb.
Mm.
It is colossal. Every building is 100-foot tall and has been surrounded by columns and archways and passageways and alleyways. And the docks that you sail past are teeming with just millions of Sagetti and Cathar and every other species on the planet busy with trade.
Cool.
The overall color of the city, you would say, is white and mud. Where the mud comes from, you're not sure because it's just sand everywhere, but it seems to accumulate and then slowly turn into mud and then brown the bottoms of these white structures. At the end of the 3 hours, however, you are pulled into a very large, very heavily guarded harbor, cut into the side of the sort of the sand passageway, if you will. There are trees, huge old oak trees that are growing, and underneath them you can see there are dozens of slaves carrying buckets of water that they just pour onto the tree roots in a dazzling display of "we don't need water."
Yeah.
And lining either side of the steps that would lead down into the bay itself, you can see there are at least 1,000 Sagetti in full armor with square golden and white shields, long spears, and these impressive crests, similar to what you saw in Athene democracy-style armor, but just all tinted in the yellows of the desert and the gleaming white of the buildings. Standing in the middle of them is this very old woman, you want to say, but if you were to guess, the Sagetti have a 1,000-year lifespan. She looks about 3,000 years old. She really looks old. And she is standing on either side of her. 2 Barbari slaves, by the looks of things, tower over her, but even then a gnome might tower over her. And they are holding a canopy above her, protecting her from the sun.
Let's ask Aksensaret. Who is this venerable lady?
That is our high priestess. She is the mother, if you will, of Sagetti.
And who is it that she venerates?
She is the speaker to all of the gods.
Good.
Might be just the person we need to see.
Yeah.
Memset the 18th.
That's her name, yeah?
Correct.
Their name or her name?
Her name.
Memset the 18th, XV111.
That's funny. For the Roman shit, yeah.
Can I just, before we start talking about this lady, as we've been kind of approaching the city, I would have been checking the living map because in the interim during the travel time, they were supposed to be working on the influence of the shadow. Have I seen any reduction in the black?
You have not seen a reduction. You have seen a withdrawal. And so where there were points of darkness scattered about the maps, they now seem to have coalesced mainly in Brunei.
Right.
Yeah.
The consolidating.
Yeah.
Brunei.
So our instincts about Brunei were.
And the book, does it, I suppose, it just completely stopped?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was just it.
Okay. So really, there's nothing now in the Sagetti Empire?
Not that you can
That's good
see.
news.
That is good news.
That's very good
Okay,
news.
great.
Yeah.
So we're ready to talk to Memset the 18th.
All right. The ship comes alongside the dock. You are disembarked with the help of Captain Aksensaret and greeted by Memset the 18th.
Doran would bow.
I'll buy him as well.
Please save yourself.
I won't be able to write myself.
That is what I am worried about. Rise, protector of the realms. You are a lot older than I anticipated.
Yes, this is a very recent development. As you can see, we have been rather incapacitated by a very powerful curse that even your good Captain Aksensaret was not able to cure. I cannot possibly carry on in this condition, and nor And my friend Gemini, who has been afflicted with an involuntary
Yes.
pregnancy.
Well, what happens when we fool around at your age, young lady?
No. You must understand with great respect, Princess. This was the effect of a divine curse.
What did you do to infuriate Maat, the great goddess? May she live and reign for eternity.
We are not sure.
Yes, alas, we have several ideas of what we may have done, or what I may have done. I would appreciate your guidance and wisdom greatly. It was not intentional.
Yes, well, I am sure it was not intentional. This is a deeper-voiced individual who makes Aksanseret look like a bookworm. He comes striding down in a huge bronze breastplate, and his rippling muscle is about... He looks like a grizzled 45-year-old warrior of note.
Is it the Pharos?
No.
He didn't know.
I thought he was. I know, but I thought
He
he
did
was.
right away. Yeah.
Ah, I was wondering when you might show up. This is Telsaknamen. Telsaknamen is our greatest military general. Telsaknamen. What brings you here, my lord? He smiles at her. Venerable priestess, I would not let you have the burden alone of greeting our guests. After all, it is not your army that they are in charge of. The Pharos has given you a battalion of men. They stand ready to accept your command. I, however, have 2 requests to make of your august natures.
Make your requests. Oh, fantastic general, we have heard. In fact, I have a rather small collection of books written from your perspective. Perhaps an autograph is in order.
His demeanor immediately melts, like the perfume balls that they are all wearing in their dark black hair in the sun. You have several of my treatises on tactics.
That's correct. I was particularly fond of your hand-to-hand combat.
Whilst that is flattering, you do not appear to be the same as the champion of Aug Baeg.
Eric Barr.
Barefoot's your dwarven
I
make,
saw
I didn't
you-
get that at all.
I saw you writing it. I was like, oh.
You were the one who led a charge of 10,000 centaurs against an army of 1,000,000 undead.
Yep, bang on. Yep, absolutely. That's correct.
Those are the exact statistics.
I see. In which case, it would be an honor if you were to join me this evening in conversation about such combats.
Absolutely.
And I am less inclined to enforce my requests that I was about to make upon you. My request, these men, although they are willing to lay down their lives in whatever task or duty you might issue unto them, I would beseech you to remember that they are still living men. They are not slaves. Their lives have purpose and meaning. They
All
have
lives
value.
have purpose and meaning.
Might get a little disagreement there.
Yeah, you can see Memset hiding a smile under her old hands, and you can see the general holding back a comment because you're foreign. That would be my first request.
We will definitely honor this.
My second request is that you would treat them as your own. Do not in any way hold back your authority over them, for you are not seen as strangers here. You are seen as allies.
This is most gracious of you.
And allies we are.
Indeed.
Telsaknamen.
In that case, then, I shall extend my invitation to all of you, although I suspect it might be quite heavy in terms of combat parley, I would hope.
Absolutely, I can be quite verbose when the mood takes me.
Thank you for the invitation.
And I, says Memset, would offer an invitation to those of you who do not wish to be bored by the tactics of young boys whilst they're running around swinging their swords at each other.
That
Quite
sounds
so.
much more preferable.
Yes, I will definitely be joining you, precious madam.
Nice.
Do you have
by 8 and 5? Anyway,
you have an archmage or vizier or some kind of a scholar?
this is Sajeti. Of course we have a vizier.
I would be most interested in speaking to that gentleman if such an invitation could be extended to him for this meeting, or do you?
Have you been in Sajeti before?
I'm afraid I have not.
You have slowly been making your way up the stairs while this conversation is
slowly,
happening.
Yeah.
You must understand the position of vizier is a very ancient position. And you should also understand the vizier's position is a protected position. The vizier is tasked with attempting to overthrow the pharaohs and destroy the empire from within
To keep it strong.
by using any means necessary. And it is up to the general, myself, and the administrative head to stop him.
Interesting.
You may speak with him, and if it suits his needs, he will give you whatever information you might need. But just be aware, he will also use it against you. He's a very nice man, a lovely long family. Mind like a viper. You have been warned.
Thank you.
Now, as to this problem of yours,
Mm.
the only way that we might be able to find any kind of respite from this affliction would be to entreat Ma'at herself. She has given you this burden, or perhaps it is a gift. Have you any other children?
No, and it's not something I was planning on.
Very seldom do we plan on having children.
Mm.
I stopped at my 12th,
Jesus, what?
Wow, that's a lot of kids.
and it was a long time ago.
Yes.
So you're suggesting a penance be paid of some kind?
The gods are not. She's leaning on a staff that is carved to look like the head of a crane. And she just taps it once. And the whole world suddenly just goes silent. You can't hear the shuffling of the soldiers as they stand in the heat, or the general who is walking ahead. It's just silence.
Wow.
The gods don't have long memories. You did something that caused them to take offense. I don't know what it was. It doesn't really matter. Placate Ma'at, offer her something that she wants, and then ask her, as an afterthought, to remove whatever it is that she has done to you.
Okay, let's do that really quickly. Do I have any sense of what would be appropriate in that respect?
Well, that is the problem.
Mm.
You're going to have to do some research on that to see what has worked in the past.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll ask her
Yes.
if she can extend me some appropriate tomes of that kind.
I will introduce you to Talakos, the librarian.
Oh.
Even though I'm 80, just a little bit of, a little bit of chumesses. Anyway, what was his name again?
Talakos.
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 Yeah.
I don't suppose you have any people who have a way of telling stories about my art that I could perhaps try to learn that would placate.
I suppose you might approach the master entertainer,
Right? Yes.
Esti.
Esty.
That's her stage name.
Oh.
Esti Hatshepsut just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Well, that's why I go by Gemini.
You are Gemini Hatshepsut?
No, just Gemini.
Just Gemini.
Yeah.
I see. Yes, the Master of Entertainment would perhaps be your closest bet there.
Well, then we can divide and conquer, perhaps. Gottfried?
While we're here as well, we'll need to look into. I suppose you have teams who are capable of digging and unearthing.
She opens up an ancient old hand to this gigantic city.
Yes, I thought as much.
Yeah.
Perhaps if we could start putting together a strong workforce, we could start unearthing a marked location we left with the captain.
You are digging in the desert?
Yes, we are. It is vital, if not the most important thing we've ever asked for to date.
How far away are you digging?
Was it 30 miles
30
away?
miles.
There might be easier ways of getting there than digging. There are catacombs that run under this city that are 20,000 years old.
20,000-year-old dungeon. Yeah. Sounds like a dungeon to me. She said you wanted a dungeon.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
And Memnehep was not always here.
Oh.
The desert moves, and so do all of the cities. I think you might be better prepared if you were to look at the archives, understand where it is you wish to dig, and see what might be there.
It's good advice. Thank you.
Is Talikos also in charge of the archives?
Oh, yes. Talikos knows more about everything than anyone I have ever met. And I don't care what those stuffy elves in the democracy say. Their library might be bigger than ours. I doubt they know even a third of what they have.
We also have an airship which took us most of the way. Its crew have been afflicted, as we have. If there is a way that
It was not just you who was affected.
I am sorry to say.
The entire crew.
There are 3 other dwarves right here, also with us, right? Making with us.
Well,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's
The
also
captain's set.
we're getting the
Yeah.
thing. We would be most grateful if the hospitality could be extended to them as well. Some have lost lives.
Of course they may stay in the temple complex. This is not a problem. When Ma'at curses one, it is up to that one to make penance. But when it is a general affliction, you must have done something terrible to incur that kind of wrath.
I am a theologian of sorts, purely academic, you understand, and I
One of those.
have no
I
understanding.
understand.
Yeah, I have no understanding of it. I can't fathom why we would be so badly punished, and it was such a careless curse levied on people just near us, who innocent bystanders.
That is usually reserved for the greatest of infractions.
And that is the question that I hope to find the answer to, High Priestess. So I would spend my time maybe visiting some of your temples and trying to speak with the clerics or representatives of the gods to try and figure out what exactly happened and why. If you have a temple of art here in the city.
We have temples to all of the gods.
Of course.
She's probably the best source of information. She's like
The god
High
priestess.
priestess.
We also have a priestess, Palra. She is goddess Ma'at's favored one here in the city. She has specific knowledge. I'm more of a generalist, you might say.
Mhm.
When
Okay.
you get to be my age, you've worshipped them all.
Okay.
Wow.
Lots
Oh,
of people
God.
to talk to.
We did really bad. really bad.
Yeah.
Or I did.
We.
We
It was
did.
the
It was only us two, at least.
Yeah.
I think everyone helped.
Yeah, we were all like playing around. But you know what?
But also
ventured,
it was-
nothing gained.
Yeah.
We figured something out. Now we know where the last piece is, and it's, you know, if we're going to have to get it eventually, we'll have to figure out a way to get there, safely and
Less marshmallow death.
That's marvelous. All right. So everybody is going off in different directions, doing different things, trying to find out different thing.
Hooray!
Sounds like a skill challenge.
You read my mind. Read my mind. Read my mind. I couldn't
Love a
have
skill
put it
challenge.
better. I just need to double check something first. And so the very first skill, and well, actually, each of you are trying to find out something different, basically. So let us start with, let's use Dice of Destiny.
Destiny.
10. So, Scott,
Good day.
what are you trying to achieve, find out, or otherwise determine? You have Sakanaman is more than happy to talk to you about all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Um,
About their military capability, what lessons can be imparted, and what aid we can expect if we were to delve through the catacombs. How many men could we expect? That sort of thing.
I would like you to give me an insight check.
Of course. +5. Does anyone have any inspiration they can
I'm sorry, I'm keeping it.
That's
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it.
no, don't worry about it. I think you guys are probably more important. That was a 7. I rolled a 2.
Oh shit, you rolled a 2. Yes. So I simply wouldn't advise it at all. A battalion of men wandering down a single corridor only 50 foot wide, they would be vulnerable to all kinds of attack. A single wizard hurling a ball of fire would eliminate 12, maybe 15 people. I would suggest instead you take a commando team. Specialists, practiced in the art. Maybe 6, no more than 10.
That's good.
10 big, sturdy, strapping young
No,
bucks.
a mixed team. 2 strong, 2 quick, 2 very smart, trained individuals. And then the rest, a mixture of creative and ingenuity in terms of construction.
You know, us, but better.
Yeah.
We're the B team. You're looking for the A team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, B team.
So that's what you discover.
Meeting.
Gemini,
That's taken, actually.
Yes.
what are you trying to discover? And
So I would like to, love a bit of oral tradition. So
You're going to SD?
yeah, I'm going to go to SD, and I would like to know any great ballads that you have.
Yes. Just one moment, darling. One moment. Back legs, not the forward legs. And that is on the elephants. I want the camels around clockwise. No, the other. Which way does the sun go? That's clockwise. That's right. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Yes,
It's
you were
looking
saying.
fantastic. Thank you so much for finding a moment to speak to me.
You are part of the
Protectors, we're workshopping the title, really, the band name.
You are part of the band. Why are you talking to me?
No, we're the Protectors.
Yes. So Accenseret, the captain, has decided to come with you.
Great.
He steps forward. He whispers a few things. Begone! I am so sorry. I did not realize who you were.
That's all right. I didn't
Now.
introduce myself very well.
What is it that you wish to know?
I have had a unfortunate run-in with the god Ma'at, and I would be grateful if you know any tales or great songs about the god, and perhaps something that might appease them.
So, we're looking for a song or a play or something. I like this. We can work with this.
That I like this positivity.
Okay.
Really good.
Yes. And okay, good. Right. And
Fantastic.
I need you to give me a performance check, actually.
Thank God.
I hope you.
That is a 27.
27. Yes. It's probably going to take us a couple of days to do that sort of research, but I'm thinking we have two young lovers,
Right.
and the one desperately wants to marry the other,
Ooh, yes.
but the other is under the spell of an evil witch to be in love with somebody else.
Right.
So the woman, she lures him into her bedchamber, uses him to get herself pregnant, and thereby evokes the wrath of Ma'at.
And that's the sort of thing that would evoke the wrath,
Well, life, death, and
Yes.
conception with deception. Even that could be the title, conception with deception.
Conception,
I can see the
deception.
posters on the backs of the camels right now.
I mean, this already sounds like a brilliant,
So good.
fully formed idea. I
Yes.
think we can move the timeline along.
We need to do research. Yes.
Yes, the research is ever so important. We
Yes.
want to...
And this very quick slave appears next to her. She gives him a whole briefing on go and find all of the stories that have ever been written before about Ma'at cursing and being placated.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
You look like you once had the body of a dancer or a performer.
Literally
So
about
sad.
a day ago.
It was so very recent.
I'm sure it feels like that.
No, there is a reason that I need all of this information. This is a curse.
Can I give you some advice? One entertainer to an old entertainer.
Of course, you're helping me. I would be grateful for any advice you have to give me.
We have to learn how to adapt to the role
Mhm.
for which we now
Don't kill her, don't kill her, don't
Do
not stab her in the face. Stab her in the face.
You can ask the general to stab her.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So that's what's happening on your side as you stand in
she's
this arena.
fuming.
There are some camels that are just nauseated by going in circles, and there's some very tired elephants. But they will do the research for you, and I'll come back to you by tomorrow morning.
Great, I've delegated.
The elephants will.
Yes, sorry. Yes, you were quite right. Yes. Esty will. And of course, you are invited to tonight's command performance. And
Yeah,
they'll give you a place close to the stage so you can see what's happening.
that's wonderful, SD. Darling.
Yeah.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Doran.
When two kisses mean. Oh.
Yeah. I hope you die alone. Yes.
Yes, I've gone to meet, try and meet Palra, the priestess of Ma'at.
Yes, the priestess of Ma'at.
And I enter as a holy man in another temple, so I'm very
Yes.
reverential and I'm very careful about what I say and what
Yes.
I do. I have the symbol of Halvoth on me, so
Indeed.
hopefully I'm not going to get ejected immediately from the temple.
No, you enter in the temple and you realize you are overdressed.
I take my clothes off.
You are now perfectly dressed for the temple of Ma'at, or Reft, depending on which particular one you go for. And you are greeted by several young priestesses who will guide you through to the high priestess of Ma'at, Palra.
All right. Okay.
And she nods at you. I am impressed that you have adopted our style of worship of Ma'at.
I will abide by your customs. I am a visitor to your temple. Though my allegiance lies with Halvoth, I still respect the religions of others.
Halvoth is an excellent god.
As is Ma'at.
Then we are
Although-
in agreement.
And then I explain
Yes.
that I'm looking for some type of information on curses and how
Yes.
Ma'at might be appeased.
Give me a religion check, please.
It's only a 12 plus guidance. So a 15.
15. Okay. What do you think caused the curse to happen? Because this sounds like something that Ma'at has taken very personally, which is not common at all.
I'm loath to, I'm asking you for help, therefore I'm sure you would like the full story, but I'm loath to say too much because of the sensitivity of the nature. But we believe we may have transgressed somehow, and
But how? That is the question.
we may have attempted to.
Did you
purely-
force yourself upon the tiefling?
Not at all.
Jesus.
No. We may have accidentally trespassed in the place where the gods are.
You attempted to reach their haven?
Well, we didn't know we were going to reach their haven, but we believe that that's the only transgression that we can believe would be treated so seriously by
I
the
can
gods.
well understand that, absolutely.
Alep, it was an accident. We had no idea that this was the place that we may end up. It was purely accident. We were hypothesizing about one thing or another, and then suddenly our friends started to potentially go there, and we dragged her back. It was too late. The vengeance of the gods landed upon us.
The gods would not care what your intentions were, whether they were accidental or not is irrelevant. The fact that you were even trying or had the capabilities to do such a thing.
I understand.
This is not something that should be taken lightly at all. I do not even know how you would make such a supplication to Ma'at.
She is the goddess of life and death, but also of protection and pain, as I understand. Priestess.
Yes.
I've read about Ma'at. I know her remit and where she supplies. Our journey here is one of protection. It is protecting this plane. And inadvertently, we may have incurred the wrath of Ma'at, but surely the gods can understand that we are trying to protect all of the people.
This will require a lot of research. I don't even know if there's any texts that deal with this particular matter. Where the gods exist is even subject to debate and discussion. They exist everywhere, and yet nowhere, and yet you have gone where they might be.
It is but one hypothesis. It may not be accurate. Nevertheless, we are being punished greatly for something we did. And we would ask Ma'at to stave off her vengeance until we can prove ourselves innocent and protectors of this realm.
I see. I will get the scribes to scour what information we might have. It will take some time.
Thank you, priestess. Can I help, or can my companions help in this research, or is there any more information?
How's your Sajeti?
It is poor.
In which case, then, you need to rest and recover. All that I can offer you would be, and even then, would it work? Would Ma'at be gracious enough to grant its gift upon you? It must be so. It must be so. As you are protectors of the realm, the Pharos has instructed us to give you any aid which we seem or deem necessary to complete your tasks. You do not look particularly affected by this aging, but you say that one of your companions is particularly degenerate?
Yes, I mean, he was already an old man, and he has become even older. He is now well into his twilight years, if I can say it like that. And another colleague is with child. 7 months with child.
His age you can cure, his degeneracy, however.
Yeah, months too deep.
And he was only 24.
Yeah, please tell me that.
She goes, she leads you into a private chamber, and there is a particularly gilded gold box, which she opens up, and inside are 5 vials, very small little vials that have been crafted out of the purest crystal and have gold tops with little pearls inset into them. And she takes out 4 of them. This is an extract from a rare species of plant, known in the Sajeti as the dew of the desert. The plant itself flowers once but every 1,000 years and will form a single drop of this fluid.
Oh, Jesus.
Priceless.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Priceless.
priceless.
What does it do?
It undoes aging.
Give me in real life.
Between you and me, I think that the High Priestess has drunk maybe 12 of these vials. She is very fond of her position.
And how many years does it remove from
That depends on the species, and it depends on the efficacy of the plant at the time of its harvest. It also depends on the grace of Ma'at.
Ugh, that's a problem.
For you are playing within her space, and Helgoth himself has cautioned no more than a few sips each. Memset has a special place in the gods' hearts, mainly because some of us think she's as old as the gods. As for the child, there is the only way to change that status is to beseech Ma'at. For if we try to remove it or destroy it,
Anger her further.
it would be a direct violation of Ma'at's sacred teachings.
It is Alabama.
The only way I see of honoring Ma'at in that instance is by bringing the child to life and caring and loving for it. That is one of her greatest mandates.
Thank you for this wisdom. It is obviously not my decision to make, priestess, but I will relay the information. Before I go, I see these vials are made of crystal. Is crystal a common stone or?
No, these are made from dragon glass.
Dragon glass. That's the chappy.
And where would you find dragon glass in this?
Wherever you find sand dragons.
Sand dragons.
You are not familiar.
I am not. Can you tell me just a few words about sand dragons?
Sand dragons are probably not rightly called dragons, but they are titanic reptiles that dwell deep within the deserts, and their breath is of liquid glass. If you are unfortunate enough to find yourself face to face with one, do not worry. Soon you will be nothing more than a statue, for they generally will coat their victims in liquid glass, which instantly kills the individual, and then over time will consume glass and entombed. They are not particularly smart, but they have an ability to move through the sand, making them incredibly dangerous prey.
And are there any in this area?
None around Memnaheb, not for 1,000 years. They would have been hunted to extinction.
I assume in the book, in the library here, there might be some information about adventurers who have fought these sand dragons before.
Oh, of course. And they still exist.
Yes.
For the dragon glass. There are some who are crazy enough to ride out into the deserts, deep into the deserts, where they might find victims of dragon glass.
And would sand dragons, if aroused, attack a great city like... Aroused? Oh, come on. a great city like the one we are presently in?
No, I do not think that has ever happened.
But, hypothetically, priestess, please, would they...
A large enough one might, perhaps. But these beasts generally are not that big. I am not entirely sure.
I see.
But dragon glass is worth a fortune. But these vials contain something worth far more than that.
So 2 sips per person, priestess?
Be careful. The aging effect is permanent. And unless you really want to incur Ma'at's wrath again, there is no way to get back the years that you have now reclaimed.
I understand.
If you go too far,
It'll be
you
as
could
bad
be
as...
trapped in the body of a child.
Interesting.
I'll take that risk.
Thank you.
Godfrey's like, I'm just taking all 4.
So do I get this 4 vials or just 4?
She gives you 4 vials.
4 vials. Wow.
Come
Just
on,
about
Godfrey.
4
It's time for a nap
crew,
now.
basically. And,
It depends on how much you want to share.
yeah, okay.
But there are 4 vials and 4 sips per vial.
4 sips per vial.
Mm-hmm.
4 by 4.
You got 16 doses, basically.
16 doses.
Yeah.
And each one mechanically would do how many years?
It varies,
I bet it's a roll.
but
Depends on the flower.
it depends on the flower. But I mean, I'm not going to say that each dose does 1d10.
Actually, you know what? No, I want child Godfrey and an old baby carrier that's strapped to me. You get cranky, you wake up, you're still
Hits you
fireballing.
with the
Really, no change in how you play the character.
Second childhood, first childhood, whatever, man.
Retain all the knowledge and abilities, right? So,
So before you, you don't have a dinner date, and you don't have a dinner date.
Well, I want
because
to
I haven't
talk
got
to
to you yet. So
Yep.
you are next.
Okay.
What's up, Gottfried?
Guess who I'm going to talk to? Dalakos, the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I have 4 avenues of inquiry, which I'll go through briefly. One was
Very good.
precisely that one. Information about dragon statues, Jedi warriors, and crystal, famous battles with.
Sand dragons.
Mm.
The several Pharos have killed glass dragons of titanic size that were threatening to englass cities, caravans.
Can I
etc.
triangulate based on the distance between here and the point where you are likely
Yes.
candidate for one of these attacks? One of these.
Give me an investigate check as you look at this.
Oh, that's pretty good. 24.
But between your knowledge and Talakos's knowledge,
Yeah, I want to get.
between the two of you, there were stories of Pharos who used to keep these things as pets.
Right.
It's quite an effective demonstration to put down a rebellion when you
Yeah.
encase the leader in glass.
Right.
What happened to these pets once the Pharos died, some of the books don't account for. Memneheb has had its fair share of Pharos who, for some unknown reason, kept glass dragons as pets. The most likely, because you think there's a sand dragon, the most likely would be a sand dragon by the name of Rassises.
Okay.
Rassises belonged to a Pharos, Telset the Ninth, but Rassises was very good at controlling its glass breath weapon,
Right.
because it worked well with the Pharos. But when Telset the Ninth disappeared in the deserts, Rassises went with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is disconcerting to talk to Talakos, because Talakos's head and most of his body appears to be made out of scrolls. He has spent so much time in the Sajeti libraries, which do not contain books, they contain scrolls. Pages trap sand. That's bad. You want scrolls so you can periodically just tip them and empty them. But literally, parts of his body are parchment scrolls. Wow. Covered in the very small pictographic language of the Sajeti. And when you need something, he will think about it for a moment, and then he will reach around somewhere and almost pluck from himself a page and lay it out in front of you. And that's from the book or the scroll collection. And when you're done with it, he takes it and he sort of just fills it in, and it's back on the shelf where it happens to come from.
Wow.
Alfie's a little bit in love. As much as anything when you're all candy.
captains, librarians.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we know our types.
We got our types. All right.
The blood is tame and waits upon
Yes.
the judgment.
So
that's
that was
number
your
one.
first question. Yes.
Number 2 is longevity potions, which we've kind of covered, where they might be found, bought, etc. in the city.
Yes.
So that's kind of covered.
Priestess of Ma'at, or you could find a private trader of the dew of the desert, but you are paying
Thousands of that.
20,000 gold pieces for a single drop.
Okay. The next was the purchasing of either a scroll of contact out of plane or hiring someone who can cast it. Fifth level wizard style.
Oh, yes, there are many that can cast that incantation. That's
Okay.
not a problem.
We'll shelve that for a second because obviously that is another matter, not directly to do with this guy Talakos. So the last one. So as I'm talking to this guy about these first 3 questions, I'm trying to read him in terms of: is he purely academic? Does he have strong loyalties anywhere? Strong feelings about anything? Is he at all religious?
Give me an insight check.
Yeah. That is only a 13.
You realize that this guy is so dedicated to books,
Yeah.
he cannot leave this library. although you realize now this library is probably the size of Howden Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
The city.
I'm in heaven. Yeah.
There are scrolls that ascend. There are corridors. And he has an army of slaves running around.
Yeah.
Not that he needs them for himself, but for the other librarians and things.
The reason I ask is because I'm about to ask him this very sensitive question about undeath. And I don't want to spook him. So if
you feel that he's read so much, is exposed to so much,
I want to try to find something in this library that tells me how to become a lich.
Of all of the places that you could have come to, this is probably the best of them. Oh, you might try and go to Drakenmore, but those vampires keep their secret, and they're not true immortals. You would need to travel to the city of Djebi. Djebi is in the north, not too far from here, about 600 miles or so. There they specialize in the interment of the Pharos for all eternity, to be living, as it will. However, it takes a great deal of skill, which they weren't willing to give up just because death came along. You should also know that Djebi is a cursed city. The gods have forsaken it long ago.
Oh, it sounds like a wonderful place.
But since they have never repented or asked for forgiveness, I think the gods have given up cursing them now. But they are mostly liches there.
Wonderful. Okay. Finally, again, speaking of myself as just as a kind of an academic who pursues this abstract question of the location and nature of the Crepuscularium, anything in the library here about that?
Yes. I know that you have spoken to the librarian at Quethlin on such a matter.
Yeah.
And that you are also trying to get into the elves' library of Athalos. Well then, you will find that there are references to that book in a very few books. But it is a reference as if this thing doesn't exist.
I'm aware.
There is one reference which might be of interest to you. And he pulls out a page and he lays it down in front of you. And we'll find out what it says next week. Yes! Right, there we go.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Sorry, take my mic off.
Info dump episode.
Yeah.
Gathering of the
Very
intel.
Yeah.
Shum, 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 shum.
Was there a favourite moment coming from Scott?
Whew. It's quite hard because there's quite a bit going on there. I think it was obviously attractive memory.
Yeah, that was some absolute hotties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit envious. Yeah, it's a very nice setting that we're in now. This new city, and it's opened up quite a lot of possibilities. I'm just excited to see where we take it next.
If I can comment that, maybe not favorite moment, but most pivotal role in the last few episodes. I don't remember if it was last episode or one before, was Maurice's +11 religion roll for a 31, not 20, for Sajedi. And because all of this stuff, I mean, like just walking in and getting the longevity potions, having absolute access, having a battalion under our belts, identifying where the Crepuscularium was in the first day there. I mean, this is all stemmed from one role. I mean, it's incredible.
Take this, all of you.
I thought you weren't religious.
Yes, getting the Pharos on your side. I mean, that was also a calculated play. You held back your initiative, your inspiration. You're like, we've got to get
This guy's got to be inside,
Yeah, that's true. So there we go. Lovely. I'll make a note here. So there we go.
Such a beautiful world, Guy. It's great.
Yeah,
It's
I have
great.
to say, your descriptions of that city and the whole shebang was just amazing.
Well, thank you.
Little round of applause.
No,
Being a
no,
great
no,
GM.
It's fun. It's a fun space to play in. It's huge. It is huge, and there's so much cool and different and wonderful stuff going on there. Go to Drakenmore if you want the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Anyway, until next week, thank you for watching, and as always, hit that like button. go find these folks fine and wonderful things. And we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.